Okay, good morning, everyone. I'd like to open the public hearing in this matter of the application of MHTC Development LLC for additional Dutchess County Industrial Development Agency benefits. Before this meeting began, I had marked as hearing officer's exhibit number 1 in evidence, the notice of public hearing in this matter. I had marked as hearing officer's exhibit number 2, the affidavit of publication from the Poughkeepsie Journal, indicating that on March 30th, 2021, a copy of this notice of public hearing was published in the Poughkeepsie Journal. I had marked this hearing officer's exhibit number 3 in evidence, the affidavit of Jenna L. Jones, indicating that on March 26th, a copy of the notice of public hearing was sent to the Honorable John J. Baisley, Town Supervisor of the Town of Poughkeepsie, Dr. Lorenzo Licopoli, the Interim Superintendent of Schools of the Arlington Central School District, and upon the Honorable Marcus J. Molinaro, the Dutchess County Executive. I had marked this hearing officer's exhibit number 4 in evidence, the March 26, 2021 letter of Timothy Dean, Chairman of the Dutchess County Industrial Development Agency, authorizing me to conduct this public hearing on behalf of the Industrial Development Agency. So I will now open the public hearing. I assume either Mr. Hedinger or Mr. Kurchow will have something to say for just an initial presentation.
Would be glad to do so. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to speak at this hearing. MHTC Development is respectfully requesting permission to incorporate 2 additional parcels into our leased premises, along with a modest increase in our sales tax exemption benefit, as well as an increase in our mortgage recording tax exemption benefit, and a 2-year extension of the overall project timeline associated with Eastdale Village. Thanks in large part to the support of the DCIDA, we've accomplished a tremendous amount at Eastdale since the project began. There are over 200 apartments that have been delivered and are leased, and in most cases occupied. 6 businesses are currently operating on site, with an additional 10 expected to be operating on Eastdale Avenue within the next year. But since we initially entered into our master agreement with the DCIDA, a tremendous amount has transpired, which has precipitated the need for this amendment request. First and foremost, like many, we've been licking our wounds from COVID-19, which is something that we're still, of course, all dealing with. Supply chain issues have significantly challenged our ability to obtain materials, not only on an absolute basis, but also just on a cost-effective basis as well. The cost of fundamental building materials has risen dramatically, which has been well documented and has also had a direct negative impact on our budgets and has exacerbated the pressure on the rents required to make the buildings within Eastdale economically viable. Lastly, the decision-making process and paradigm for commercial tenants and businesses is just dramatically different than it was 18 months ago, meaning that it generally takes longer for prospective tenants to make consequential long-range decisions for their business, such as entering into a lease or acquiring a piece of land to house their business. At the same time, we know much more about what Eastdale is going to be than we did, 4 years ago, and the project has grown tremendously. So what was once going to be a 1-story building may have become a 2- or 3-story building, which precipitates, of course, major increase in costs, along with the dynamics that we just outlined. MHTC Development has also acquired some neighboring land parcels, which have become integral to the project's development path and operation. The countervailing positive to these challenges that goes along with this growth is a greater propensity to create jobs. So along with our request for this amendment to include these parcels, extend the timeline, and add some additional benefits, we are also looking to increase the FTE count by 32. So density and size of project has increased, costs have increased dramatically, and capital intensity thusly is just a lot higher. But we're still doing the things that we need to do, again, thanks in large part to the IDA, to make the project a success. And we feel as though we have a very good ability to continue doing that, provided we are successful with this amendment.
Okay. Thank you very much. Um, Anyone else? We have, there's a phone number here that ends in 252. Uh, uh, If, if the person at that phone would like to speak, just please identify yourself and then please make yourself be heard.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Capolino. This is Jim Beretta. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can. Thanks. Please.
Okay, all right. Okay, sure. All right, thank you for the opportunity to speak this morning. I submitted written comments as well as Doreen Tignanelli. I'd like to express my opposition for the expanded financial benefits for this project. The financial benefits that are given by the IDA are basically a transfer of taxes to the rest of the taxpaying public. It was discussed at the last IDA meeting. There were comments made that the developer in this case has taken risk, to do this project, and that may be so, but when you start handing out tax incentives or, tax abatements like this and other financial benefits, that also drags the rest of the tax-paying public into that risk. And in this particular case, there's scope creep going on here in terms of what the original project was. The IDA approved the original project, the financial incentives were given, and now, during this difficult time, which has been expressed, there's been additional parcels purchased, and the applicant is asking for additional financial incentives to expand the project. And at this time where COVID has been an impact, and it apparently has driven up construction costs, it does not seem like the appropriate thing to do to go for an expansion and to actually put the taxpayers more on the hook for more financial incentives. I'd like to also say that at the last IDA meeting, Chairman Tim Dean spoke at length about how the IDA board has become more and more uncomfortable with being able to do the proper analysis for projects, and had proposed to the board that they might consider third-party analysis. And in particular, he said housing has been a problem because of the number of projects, and this clearly is largely housing. So it does not seem to be prudent for the IDA to move forward with expanded financial incentives with everything that I've listed above. That just seems to be contrary to what would be good judgment. So, all right, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. You should just know, Mr. Beretta, that your letter and that was received this like 8:14 this morning, and by Sarah Lee, and Doreen Tignanelli's, which was received a little bit later than that this morning. Both of those will be transmitted to the board for their review, because and we're ordering an expedited transcript of this public hearing, and that will go, but we're not waiting on that to send your letters to the board this morning so that they have it.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else have anything to say? If not, I just asked Frances, our court reporter, if she would please understand. We'd like the expedited transcript as soon as we can provide that. And I thank you all very much. With that, I will close this public hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.